Alright, I'm going to be taking on Vicious Gaan-Telet, and I'm going to be doing it with a Gnome Sorcerer using my favorite item, Avatar's Codex. Not counting the infinite loop shenanigans I've done using Extreme Edition, I've barely gotten anywhere in Vicious Gaan-Telet. I've won before with Paladin of Glowing Guardian and with Vampire, and that's it. And I tried a bunch of times with, casting type classes, and never quite made it, so this is my first real success there, and I'm really happy with it. Starting out in Mystera to start farming Piety, I really want Mystic Balance because having cheaper fireballs is going to be a lifesaver. And I'm going to be using Wanna Fight Some just to farm Piety. Checking the shops, there's a few items that I would really like to see here. Plate Mail would be fantastic. Dragon Soul would be fantastic. Soul Orb would be fantastic. Hoping to see at least 2 of those 3. I'm not going to, but I'm hoping to. It might be surprising that I'm using Gnome. Gnome gives you a bunch of mana potions, which helps you out a lot in one fight, so is not really what you would normally think would be suited to the endurance type environment that Vicious Gaan-Telet has. The reason I picked Gnome instead of something like Elf is that basically well, first I'd like to be able to kill this Goob Blob at level 2. I'm not quite there, but it would be nice. No, but the reason I went with Gnome instead of Elf is that Elf doesn't really help that much in terms of your mana sustain. Unlike Naga City Curious, which gives you like 1,000,000 free mana potions just for existing, Vicious Gaan-Telet doesn't really give you that much in the way of potions. Most of your sustain comes from there being a lot of darkness in the tower, rather than from the potions. The main thing that high mana bar would help with on that front is the level up you get approximately once per tower floor. So because of that, I didn't think Elf would be what I wanted. On the other hand, Gnome helps a ton in the final boss battle, and the final boss battle is where we're really going to struggle. Picked up an early Gloves of Midas, it pays for itself, and there's basically no reason not to snap pick it as soon as we see it. The only reason not to buy it would be if our early game was weak and we really needed something more impactful immediately, but our early game is not weak. I like starting to take on the tower monsters at level 5 if I can, occasionally at level 4, but that doesn't always work out. This tower floor is just okay. Golem is our worst enemy, and Meatman isn't so great either. But the golden statue isn't so bad. We have shield, so we can beat it without losing any health. And we have a burn salve prepped so we can take care of the corrosion. The weakened we're not too concerned about. Getting full value from our level up here. Now in that fight there, I did Fireball, Fireball, Punch to kill the golem. That's not really ideal order. If I'd done Fireball, Punch, Fireball instead, then basically Fireballs have first strike, because they will always, if they get the kill, there's no retaliate that happens. So it would have been better to finish with a Fireball, and I would have saved a retaliate that way. I make that mistake a lot over the course of the run. Not in that fight, I was conscious of it there. But it's rough sometimes. So seeing that Wraith makes me freak out and go, oh, I don't have any way of dealing with Mana Bird, so I'm checking all the shops, really hoping to see a Soul Orb. I don't see a Soul Orb. But I can get Mana Burn right before the level up, then level up and get the kill with a Fireball and not get retaliated on, so that works. And a second Wraith immediately pops up to make me sad again. I'd like to eat the Nom Nom, but I don't have room in my inventory, but the Wanna Fight has long outlived its usefulness. And since I'm already poisoned, no reason not to eat the Nom Nom. I'd like to discharge my remaining mana somewhere, so that Ystera gets less mad at me for wasting it, but there isn't really anyone I can hit without killing it, and I don't want to use my popcorn. So, with great reluctance, you can see the great reluctance here, I'm sort of going back and forth on, should I do this? But then I'm thinking, well, should I pick up the Helpma? But I want to leave that on the ground. Inventory management is always rough in these towers. So ultimately I just have to take the Piety hit. Again there, that's another Fireball, Fireball, Punch combo. That's not the right order. Really need to learn to stop doing that. But wasting health isn't that bad this run, because we found Plate Mail, and Plate Mail is amazing, basically. And we didn't find we didn't find any big mana items. We didn't find Soul Orb, which is basically a mana item, in some sense. We didn't find our Dragon Soul. We didn't even find Mage Plate. There was a Crystal Ball, but Crystal Ball is kind of tough to use in Vicious Gaan-Telet because gold is actually pretty tight. Now that I've found all the monsters here and the floor's item, I do my exploring downstairs instead of up here, because there's nothing to find up here, but down on the ground floor we could have found something useful, theoretically. I'm gonna eat the ritual scroll and then punch some monsters with bad side effects while they are unable to apply them to me. I killed one more monster with a punch after I leveled up to remove the curse. That was a mistake, because I was about to kill those monsters with Fireball anyhow. The pre-revealed level is always a pain, but the run before this, my pre-revealed level was Binlore. So, because Binlore's level is like triple the size of all the other floors, that hurt a lot. So I was happy to see the pre-explored level being anything else. And at least this gives me an excuse to explore the ground floor a bit more. Maybe I'll come across a Soul Orb somewhere in the dark parts. And since it's pre-explored, I can go after the Dancing Blade immediately. This level 5 dragon spawn is great as a way of discharging popping burn stacks. Our plate mail blocks almost all of its damage, and it's just barely strong enough to not die to our hits, so we're not wasting popcorn. Probably should have switched to punching the Dancing Blade a bit sooner. Again, mana is our limiting factor, not health. And having 2 meat men plus the Dancing Blade all on the pre-explored floor is a bit rough in terms of darkness available. Occasionally I do the fireball punch fireball combo in the right order. But yeah, I really wanted to do this because Codex is like my favorite item ever. I'm completely in love with it. And I found it difficult before because Vicious Gaan-Telet doesn't give you a ton of darkness. I mean, it gives you a ton of darkness in some sense compared to most maps, but compared to the number of high-level monsters you need to kill, it's not that much darkness. Like, most of the upper floors are 7 by 7, so you're getting maybe 40 tiles of darkness to explore. It's not that much when you need to kill 5 level 10 monsters. And Codex in particular is very darkness hungry because it really wants to be able to wander around and refill our mana bar after each fight. Buying a Battle Mage ring here, the idea is that I saw we were falling a bit short of being able to fireball punch fireball this dragon spawn down, and I think Battle Mage ring could fix that. Or at least I was hoping it would. Exact math is hard. I'm not entirely sure if that was the best call, or maybe it would have been better to save the gold and just have more crystal ball fuel available. Because Battle Mage Ring, when you have Avatar's Codex, especially with Sorcerer, you're basically dealing like 11 damage per level per fireball already. So going up by 1 with Battle Mage Ring isn't that big a deal. Whereas for non-Codex users, you're going from 4 to 5, that's a pretty big increase. And because it's a small increase, it won't be the deciding factor. It won't save us a fireball in that many fights. So I guess the question is, does it save us enough fireballs over the course of the run to make up for not reducing the gold we would have available to pay for maybe 2 more of those crystal ball charges? And I don't know the answer. I guess that's something I'll have to experiment with. After that no exploration space level, getting Binlor's dungeon is huge. I mean, it's huge for us in the sense that it's a great benefit. It's also huge in the sense that physically Binlor's floor is massive. We already found and used the ritual scroll, so I don't want to desecrate Binlor just yet, since it's not free. I might someday. He's still high on the list, but... Dragon Elite. In my, I did a few attempts at this, and what I found very quickly was Dragon Elite is by far the worst level boss for us, or mini-boss, or whatever they're called. It has good stats. It has magic resist 50%, which is super obnoxious for our build. And Poisonous and Curse Bearer are nasty too. I always wondered why monsters say Poisonous 1 instead of just Poisonous. I'm wondering if that's a holdover from like the beta when Changeling was a thing, so it mattered what number Poisonous they had. That was a mistake there, by the way, throwing 2 fireballs in a row. Would probably have been better to kill off a popcorn monster in between to get rid of our curse. killing off the poisonous popcorn while I'm getting poisoned anyhow. Since with plate mail, we can't just punch down even the level 1 snakes without getting poisoned. I'm trying to decide if it's worth, like, converting Gloves of Midas at this stage to open up room for health med to cure the poison. I ultimately decide to drink a health potion instead. Again, health is not our limiting factor, so I'm okay with using some health potions a bit suboptimally. And of course, we instantly get poisoned again and instantly make me wish I'd picked health med instead. So let's cure the poison. That was a mistake, by the way, drinking the health potion to cure poison before ascending the tower floor. It could have been the Ravaged by Forces Beyond Your Control floor, which would have just poisoned us again. Definitely better to ascend to the floor before curing the poison. The Dragon Elite I said was the worst of the mini-bosses, but the Goblin Miner, if you don't find a Soul Orb, is up there too. This tower floor has 2 mana burners for us to deal with, and we don't like that at all. Picked up a health potion there instinctively. It's really hard for me to leave those on the ground. Honestly, that's a mistake in terms of inventory space. Should leave that open in case I need the inventory slot. We've got a level up coming up, so I'm going to want to use that to help deal with mana burn a little. Luckily, we have just enough power to kill the meat men on this floor with 4 fireballs and a punch. Battle Mage Ring might be doing work there. Not sure, I would have to go over the exact math more closely. Using some mana potions here to punch through the mana burn sort of brute force-wise. It's not an ideal outcome, but we are a gnome, so one of the benefits of being a gnome is that if we don't find Soul Orb, we have the luxury of being able to do that if we need to. I always get worried when I see the "you feel your magic withering slightly" text, because I'm like, oh no, I'm a magic user, and my magic is withering, that must be bad. And then I remember that by magic withering slightly, it means all enemies have Retaliate Fireball, which I use Avatar's Codex. I don't care. They already all had Avatar or Retaliate Fireball. There's yet another mana burner on this floor, so I'm going to pick up Serpentine Shield to help deal with that. Everything else in this run is base game only, but Serpentine Shield is from the Extreme Edition fan expansion. And what it does is the first time each level that a monster attack would impose a status effect on you, the shield negates that status effect. So there, I was able to block the mana burn from that Burn Viper. I can't really use punches to save a fireball there. I need mana for 3 fireballs to kill the dragon spawn. After that, now that we've leveled up and have our bars refilled, we can deal with the golem. Golems are a pretty huge pain. I'm honestly pretty happy with how this run's been going in terms of golem spawns. We've only seen a couple. Drank that health potion just to free up room in my inventory. Want to start charging the crystal ball for when I need it. Alright, now watch carefully here. It's the Ravaged by Forces Beyond Your Control effect, but I didn't actually get any debuffs. It's supposed to give you mana burn, poison, corrosion, and weakness, but I didn't get any of them. I think what happened was the Serpentine Shields negate the status effects from the first monster attack. It seems to have negated the Forces Beyond Your Control level curse thingamajig. I don't know what the real term for those things is. And it seems to have done so without actually using itself up. We still have the Serpentine Shield available this level, even though it protected us there. I think that's probably a glitch at work. We were just barely able to kill that dragon spawn with the burning stack. So again, that's us saving a fireball thanks to Battle Mage Ring. As I said, it's not a great item by any means when you're using Codex, but in a long dungeon like this, it does add up gradually, I think. Still not my top choice, but could be worse. The reason I felt so free to use that health potion earlier, by the way, is we finally have gotten to Dracul, and now that we're so late in the run, I'm going to want to convert to Dracul pretty soon and start using all these blood pools that we've dropped over the course of the climb as fuel. So because of that, I'm not too worried about wasting a health potion. Health isn't our limiting factor before we got Sanguine, and it's certainly not going to be our limiting factor after. I didn't realize that goblin was going to be there. A lot of the time I just sort of forget how many monsters I've seen so far on a dungeon floor. Trying to think of some clever way to take down Yang in only 2 fireballs. It's not really working. That's fine. Getting Yang late is pretty great for us, because, oh no, not no experience. That'll make it harder to reach my 5th prestige level. I feel like one of the worst things Vicious Gaan-Telet can do to you is getting the no experience Malice on floor 2, because then you're not level 10 yet. You really, really need all the experience to get more stats. And I think no experience is the one penalty that didn't happen this run. I killed some popcorn there to help remove curses, but it seems that the Serpentine Shield blocked the Grim Malice as well. And again, it didn't use up the Serpentine Shield, it's still available. So it can help block this, whichever of these I throw a fireball at, it can block the debuff they apply. Now what's weird is that Mystera punished me for mana burn there. Not punished, but taxed me some piety. So, and the same thing happened when the Forces Beyond Your Control Ravaged Tower Climb thingamajig happened. It seems that Mystera punishes you, or taxes you piety for the mana that would have been wasted if you'd been mana burned, even if Serpentine Shield prevents the mana burn. So that and Serpentine Shield preventing debuffs that can't come from sources other than attacks, I think those are both glitches. Not entirely sure. but it seems probably not the intended effect. So there were a couple of snakes here. I let myself get poisoned planning to drink a health potion. I kind of forgot there aren't any. I already drank all the health potions. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask my friend Jakul, hey, you, give me the health restoration I need. I'm going to be drinking health pools from the tower floors, not from the ground floor. The reason for that is that I plan to switch to Earth Mother later so that clearance can give me some extra mana for fireballs during the final boss fight. And at that point, Earth Mother's plantation is another way to make use of blood pools on the ground floor. So I want to keep my options open there for how I want to make use of those resources. But the upper floors of the tower, Earth Mother can't use. Well, except for her own floor, but all these other floors, quite irrelevant to her. I'd like a mid-fight level up here, but I'm nowhere near leveling up, and I'd rather save that level up for the fight with Horatio. I'm getting full value from my crystal ball. I don't see using it now as any worse than using it later. You might be wondering why I'm leaving things like Sensation Stone on the ground. I'm kind of keeping my options open in case I can maybe potentially switch to Glowing Guardian later for the refreshment boon. It's not going to happen, but... And it never seems to in any of these attempts. It always just seems like I end up staying in Earth Mother. Now here's a big mistake. I'm exploring this full floor at full health. And then once I've fully explored the floor, I realize, oh, I'm still 25 piety away from leveling up. So now I'll go and kill some popcorn to get closer to leveling. And take damage in the process. So that is just plain going to be a complete waste of health. I could have killed the popcorn at the start of Horatio's floor, and then gotten the health back for free while exploring. So... bit of a misplay there, something to watch out for in future. I needed to be more cognizant of where exactly my health was. I figured my plate mail would carry me through, and it's true I'm only taking scratch damage from each hit, but I haven't invested in physical attack power at all, so that's several hits, and plate mail means that even the last hit, they get to hit me, so it adds up. I was planning this whole time on using Piercing Wand as my way of stripping resistances. I realized at the very end, oh no, I used all of my gold on Crystal Ball. There is no gold left for Piercing Wand. Luckily, I have a backup plan. I left Biceps on the ground just for this sort of occasion. So I'm going to be using Biceps to remove all of Horatio's resistances very slowly. Biceps is more expensive than I would like because Mystic Balance increases its cost due to being cheap, but oh well. Should have saved for the Piercing Wand. Now that my health and mana are both drained, I'm going to kill this popcorn to level up. About halfway through the resistances, I'm going to keep punching until they're at 0. I may as well use my exploration space now. It's not like there's going to be a later fight, and I'd rather Horatio get his healing in during this first phase before Enraged kicks in. when the healing's going to be less valuable to him. Flipping through all the tower floors very quickly here, it's really hard for me to hold in my head what resources I have available where. So I'm basically just constantly losing my goldfish memory of what I just checked. Getting full Schadenfreude value here, so there's not going to be a better time to use it. Making sure I don't waste mana by over-exploring. Oh, there was more darkness over here. It always feels weird when you are incorrect in your assumption about what the dimensions of a room are, and there's a bit more darkness off the edge. That happens to me a lot in Endless Blizzard as well, since I haven't gotten used to the room sizes there. I'm mousing over Crystal Ball there because it seems that the conversion value of Crystal Ball increases the more charged it is. So at 0 charges, it's worth like 1 conversion point. At a higher number of charges, it's worth 50, which seems to be the cap. Continuing to cast spells above that doesn't seem to increase it any further than 50. Fireheart works the same way. I don't know exactly how much MP is needed to be charged in it before it reaches the cap. I think I'm out of the upper floor's blood pools, so I can start using the ground floor. The Horatio has no resistances left, so I'm all done with biceps. Before he gets enraged, between our sorcerer healing thing and our damage reduction, we're blocking almost all the damage from Horatio's counterattack. Now that he's enraged, he's dealing a bit more damage, but it's still a quite modest amount. Like less than a blood pool's worth? Maybe exactly a blood pool's worth? Maybe a bit more than a blood pool's worth? It's not that much anyhow. Always have to be careful with the sorcerer healing not to accidentally kill myself. The sorcerer heal from spending mana kicks in after the retaliate damage is applied. So if you throw one fireball and it uses just barely less than half your remaining health, then the second fireball you would think it would be safe, but it probably kills you. Because what probably happens is you go down to negative HP and then try to recover from spending mana, but you can't recover because you're too busy being dead. Biceps has outlived its usefulness, so we can safely convert it, get a bit more mana potion. I am at full piety with Dracul, which means it's going to be time soon to convert over to Earth Mother. I do have lifesteal from Dracul that I bought just so I could get a little more health from those last 2 Dragon Spawn. Earth Mother doesn't like it when you use lifesteal. It's one of like the more obscure god likes and dislikes. I've almost never actually run into it. I only know it now because I ran into it by accident recently. But since we're not doing physical attacks on Horatio anymore and there's nobody else left to attack, that shouldn't be a concern for us. We're in the home stretch here. Tiki-Tuki, easiest Desecrate in the world. Oh no, not weakness stacks. Again, we're not doing physical attacks ever, so what do we care? Don't know why I'm checking the shops. I have 2 gold. What am I really expecting to see here? You can get into some magical thinking in these runs. Binlore is not a completely free desecration because I do have 5% resistances, but it seems likely that that's what I'm going to end up going with. Drinking as much blood pools as I'm hoping I'll need. Always rechecking the same tower floors, hoping to maybe, just maybe, find some blood pools I missed, but we were quite thorough in finding our blood pools earlier. Going to desecrate our good friend Dracul. Max HP does nothing for us at this stage, and I guess getting rid of our lifesteal would actually make Earthmother happy, wouldn't it? It wasn't necessary, but we got there. Vicious Gaan-Telet completed with Avatar's Codex. Out of curiosity, I looked up Chumyoung's videos of like Sorcerer and Wizard and stuff, and a couple other people's, and all of like the casting classes that I've seen videos of in Vicious Gaan-Telet, they always seem to be like, you know, human sorcerer, orc wizard, that sort of thing, and going for more of a hybrid build, or like maybe like, you know, the Punchamancer. But I don't think I've seen anyone else do the pure caster Avatar's Codex approach to Vicious Gaan-Telet. I'm sure someone has, but it's not one that like I was able to find anywhere, so I'm really happy I was able to pull it off. Love this item, love this class, love this build, and this is like the first time I've beaten Vicious Gaan-Telet that I don't feel like I was just using like a generally accepted known good strategy or an infinite cheat. This was just me doing my thing.